Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Going into our continued efforts to save the kingdom from itself and from Dave's other character. Elisandra, you have some money now. You have a fund. You have access to the mighty banks of the Seeds of Silver.
Uh-huh.
You got
Uh,
some plans?
so
What are you gonna do?
what does that look like? Do I just immediately have money? Is it like, oh, whenever I go to buy something, I just say
Yeah,
Ludovic's name and then it's just put it up?
basically it's like a bank account, like a trust fund. It's a bank account full of money that you can say, "Oh, well, here's a signed document or whatever. Here's information that says that this is where you will get your money from." And you just treat it as your own. And if you get taxed, it comes out of the fund instead of you.
Okay.
We've probably as part of it, because it's important to you as well. We've got it such that it doesn't have my name on it necessarily anywhere, so you don't have
That
to
would
be
be
like, yeah,
nice.
get it from
Yeah.
this person instead, because that would probably be
Yeah.
super awkward.
Money is available. Lots of nobles have funds and stuff. The this is a secret fund that nobody needs to know where it's coming
Yeah,
from.
if I'd been a real asshole, I probably would have been like, "Yeah, here's my name, like all over it." It's
Lodwick
like,
LLC. Hmm.
Yeah, so I figure in the few days or whatever since Lodovic and I had the conversation and did the deal and signed the contract and she got access to this fund,
Hmm.
Alessandra has spent it kind of clearing up a few existing debts that she had.
Hmm.
Because I would imagine that she wouldn't allow things to change visibly
Yeah.
in terms of how she's dealing with people. She just in terms of how she dealt with like the servants, it would have been like, oh yes, your paycheck, well you see, I'll get it, it's coming,
Hmm.
and with people, probably she's the type of person that would have paid the people that are higher rank and would have shirked on paying the people who really can't afford to not be paid. She's that dick.
Hmm.
um,
Well, part
so
of part of estate management is paying. It's triage, right? It's financial triage. Like, what do I need to pay right now, and what
yeah.
can I pay later?
And so there's a little bit of her, and she totally doesn't see it as giving people what they've worked for. It's more like, ah, yes, I'm being generous. Here is a gift. Um, where it's like their pay,
Yeah.
but it's several whatever weeks late at this point. And so she's like, I'm gifting to you. I'm so generous. Look at me.
Hmm.
Um, so she would have spent a little bit of time doing that. And
So is this what we see when we come in? Are you like in your office, signing things and talking to people, and like, is this like sort of boss Alessandra in charge, moving
I
money
think
around?
that I think that the thing that we see is her talking to Adeline. Is that
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and because she wouldn't probably go around herself to servants.
Of
But
course, yeah. So
she's
Adeline is like taking notes on a ledger and like taking instruction from you, like yes ma'am, and the butcher, right, next week. I understand. And like taking notes and stuff. Yeah, I like it.
and then yeah, she's talking with Adeline, and I think that Adeline probably doesn't know exactly either where the money has come from, but obviously Adeline's also now getting paid again, so that's good.
Okay.
But there's all this settling of accounts, and then Alessandra probably like takes a deep breath and then is like, and now that we've taken care of the household accounts, I believe, and I am sorry to make you uh, work so hard, Adeline. You've been quite helpful in this time of rather more difficulty than usual with everyone around the house. But I do think that um, it would be remiss of me not to try and take a little weight off of our dear guest, the king. And I think what we're doing here is she wants to. I don't know if I can summon somebody through somebody else, but I want to like call in the lady treasurer.
Yeah. I mean, she's like busy doing her own thing, but you could circles her. Yeah.
Yeah,
The vector
so
for circles in could be like,
it
go and
doesn't
find her
matter.
for me.
Okay, it doesn't matter what the
No, it
vector
totally
is.
doesn't matter. That's just flavor.
Yeah, so she's basically saying like now that I have my own shit settled for right now. I want to see if I can make myself invaluable in other arenas. And I think the Lady Treasurer would be the first person she'd probably reach out to from the Queen Circle.
Okay. Do you want to? When do you want to make that test for using the funds to try to recover some of your tax? Do you want to like make that now and we'll put it out in the world and see how it goes?
Is that like if what I was just doing can count?
I think that's reasonable.
And that
I
would
think
be
you'll get like one free shot at it with the infusion of cash from the fund. And if this doesn't work to fix the tax, you're going to need to come at it from another angle. We'll let it ride. But I do think it's reasonable to try to recover based on this new injection.
Okay.
So let's have you'll make the resource, or it's a estate management test.
Okay. And then what am I?
Let me find your ob.
Yeah.
Because it's not actually a resource test. You can't get taxed worse doing this. This is just, can I use the money I now have to make it better? It has changed your circumstance. What is your estate management at right now?
It's a B3.
Okay, so not bad.
It's the same as my resources.
So estate management, managing a manor is what we said before. Okay, it's an OB2 test.
And then estate-wise would obviously go into it.
Yep.
I very clearly stated that I was like this was my staff that I was going about.
You're using them. Yep.
Staff-wise. And then I'm just saying if there's anything else. I think that part of this is inconspicuous because she's trying to like fix all of these problems without anyone noticing.
Yeah, I don't think being inconspicuous makes it easier. I understand that you're trying to be stealthy about it, but it doesn't. It won't help the task at hand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I guess you said knob 2 with 2 forks.
Yep.
Sure. Let's go. Everyone's been rolling so badly. Fingers
Then
crossed.
we're due.
Hey, there you go.
I got a 3.
Okay, so you got a 3 over 2, which means you recover 1 tax, maybe 2, maybe both. Let me see. Meeting the obstacle is 1. Margin of success replenishes it by 1. Yeah. So Lodowic's fund has saved the House Corvidae from bankruptcy.
So I saved both taxes?
Yes, your taxes are cleared.
Do I still have the fund?
You still have the fund. So now you have 5 resources. For now.
Did it for once in my goddamn life.
So I think this is reasonable in terms of resources. It'll only really affect, for now anyway, Lodowick and Alessandra. But if you get taxed and you can come up with like a fictional plan, you basically get 1 shot before you have to take a job. And I think this was the gamble, right? It was like, can this injection of funds help turn the house around? And yeah, you paid all your debtors, you've restored your credit, and the fund is still doing okay. So now you can start trying to earn more money. But yeah, your plan worked, right? The house is not going to collapse. The next time you have to make a resource test, you'll have 5 dice to do it. And yeah, and now let's see if you can meet the
yeah, so I have to circle her because she's not a relationship.
That's right. Yeah. Lady Urtica of House Rosala, Master of the Treasury.
She's a noble, so what would the ob be to circle her?
1, because you're circling her in the court. That's where she lives. Like she's living in your house.
Yeah.
The 1 just means, is she available to you or not?
Okay.
I think there's an increased thing for it being a specific person, isn't there?
No, because you name a person, they become specific anyway, even if they were general to begin with.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just 1. It would be 2 if you were trying to summon. Like this is the easiest place to find someone. This is literally like, is she home? It'd be ob 1 if anybody else like came to the court looking for a court person too that you knew to be there.
Gotcha.
Okay, so ob 1.
Yeah.
I did it. I got 1 success.
I mean, it's a routine circle, so it's no big deal. So she's around. Make sure you mark her on your circles, and you can start working towards making her a relationship if you keep calling her up.
So you just have to repeatedly call people up to make them relationships?
Yeah, how does that work? How many times do you have to do it? It's like 10 minus something.
My relationship that
I have no idea.
to do is 6.
There you go. So that's how many times.
10 minus 4?
Oh, it's how much your current circles are.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's 10 minus your current circle's value.
Yeah.
What's the thing? I don't have the relationship map. How do you spell her name?
I will copy the link. Her name is Catalan, like Katalyn. U-R-T-I-N, and then Urtica, U-R-T-I-C-A. The house is Rosala.
U-R-T-I-C-A of House Rosala.
Yeah.
And she's the lady treasurer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Added my Amelia relationship too because I forgot.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
She's a member of the House of Nettles, which is like a lesser of the House of like basically like roses.
Okay. So yeah, I handle my household affairs with great aplomb. Thank you to this new fund. And then ask Adeline after she's like handed out the past due paychecks or whatever to summon the lady treasurer to me.
Yeah, I think the paying of the people who live in your house doesn't work exactly that way. Like people don't get
I mean,
paychecks.
I'm not sure. Like I don't know enough about medieval shit to be like, this is how you get paid, but they were owed and now they're not owed.
Yes, everything is continuing to operate. Okay. So what do you send for her? Do you request her presence somewhere else? Because she's like socially she's your equal, right? You're both noble women. She has an official job at court. You have an unofficial, maybe more important job at the new court. Things are still settling, but you're essentially on an even playing field. You and her.
I'm having
sending for her would be really rude. Is all.
I'm having the like person who helps me manage my house, who is more important than just like a servant, tell her that I request her company. I don't like, it's not like stop whatever you're doing and come straight here, but it's like I'm leaving my card or whatever nobles do. I don't fucking know. I don't like, this is, I guess it could be like what's the proper etiquette to not slight the lady treasurer, but also to get her to come to me.
Yeah, well, I guess that's the question is like, how do you set the field here? Is this I have an important thing, you're going to come talk to me because I'm more important than you? Or is this a meeting of equals? Or do you want to be obsequious and be like, at your leisure, I would like to speak with you whenever
Alessandra is never obsequious.
Right. So how I'm asking because I want to know how you set this up.
Alessandra wants to set it up so she, like everything else, so she's stepping into the place where the queen used to reside in terms of what she's managing, and she knows the relationship that, from the outside at least, that the queen had a relationship with the lady treasurer and was trying to help with like the kingdom's like money stuff, and that's like the person she's most familiar with in terms of the queen's circle because she didn't have a lot of time in the queen's circle before everything imploded.
Why don't we just have you use your skills? Make an Ob2 etiquette test.
Okay.
To know the correct thing to do, and then you can choose how to negotiate around that.
Yeah, I can do that. Etiquette. And Ob2. I'm not gonna add anything. I should have.
Uh-oh. Do you want to spend a fate?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's still routine. I was like, maybe I could get that difficult test. No, it's still routine. Like, it doesn't even matter. But I got it, and I got it.
There you go.
So many successes. Three successes.
So the correct etiquette here, to make a request of a member of the court, kind of depends. If you're calling on her socially, the correct thing to do would be to propose through your servant to her servant. You would never, like, it wouldn't be like, my servant goes speak to her, because it's off, right? You would be like, yo, Adeline, go talk to her Adeline equivalent. The two of you work it out, and then we will meet in a third, like, we'll meet in a place that works for both of us.
I'll have my people call you.
Yeah, basically. But if you want to treat her as her official position, and you as a courtier, she's more important than you, in which case you would have Adeline go and ask for an appointment, right? Like, please schedule me. I would like to speak with the royal treasurer. So is this a social call or is this a royal treasurer call? And it's incredibly rude to set it up as one and then flip it. To be like, oh, meet me for scones, and then be like, yo, courtly business, dog. Right? Like that would be considered very rude.
Of course it would.
Yeah. Steal bait.
I wish
and-
I would
you
have
don't- you
rolled a
don't-
wise so
don't
that
bait
I
and
could have
switch
set
people.
up how this worked, but I didn't.
Mhm.
I don't want to. I don't want. Alessandra wouldn't wait for someone else to be ready for her,
Fuck etiquette then. Make
but
the,
she
make new
wouldn't
rules.
fuck etiquette either.
Look at you, trapped in a courtly. This is the reality of so many people that have come before you. You don't like the rules of etiquette and you don't want to follow them, but not following them feels like a little blasphemous. So this is the question: what does Alessandra do? Look at your beliefs and instincts.
I don't know.
I mean, you're jealous, but you're not petty, right? You're a member of the court. There is a proper way to do things.
I mean, and not to mention, this is a person with whom you have no enmity, and
Yeah,
a person with
she's-
whom
she's
presumably you want to work.
Yeah, she's neutral with you. She like being polite wouldn't lessen you. No one is going to be like, Alessandra had to ask permission. Everyone has to ask permission. That's just how it works. That keeps society going.
Yeah, okay. I feel like Alessandra would do the she's just so much more into the social shit than the like courtly shit. But if you say that it would be like a huge fucking
Well,
mishap.
It wouldn't be a huge mishap. It would just be super rude, right? To be like, it's like calling up a friend and being like, yo, man, you want to go get burgers? And you go to McDonald's and you get your burgers and you sit down and then you're like, I need you to lend me $6,000. And they're like,
Well, but it's like it's more like what she wants to do is like, hey, friend, we're friends, and also look at our other friend, the king, who's
Sure.
having a hard time. We should probably help him out. Like she's not like I see it as like she wants to go about it in more of a social way, but she wouldn't do it in a way that she knew was incredibly.
No, but that wouldn't be necessarily rude. You just have to negotiate the conversation such that you don't ask her things as the treasurer. You ask her things as like a mutual friend of the king.
Okay.
That's the trickiness about these kind of like highly structured social situations is that you have to work around them. You gotta be clever.
Well, yeah, then Alessandra is much more likely to call on her like as a social equal than she would be to like deign to admit that she's her lesser.
Mhm.
So she would be like, let's meet for some tea soon.
Okay.
Just as soon as you just stop. Yep, right now. Flash forward to.
Well, that's
As
yeah,
soon as
that's
you
the
know.
thing, right? If you're inviting someone for a social thing, it's like at your leisure. But I think that she has no reason to like reject you. You made the circles roll. I think that it's not immediate. It's not like, yo, girl, let's go get milkshakes. It's like soon, like probably the next day or something.
Well,
I
yeah,
want a
Alessandra
milkshake.
has shit to do too. It's-
Are you entertaining her?
Damn it, Adam.
Are the two of you in the estate somewhere? Do you meet in like a solarium for tea? Like, what's the setup here, Alessandra? You're the host. It's your
I love
house.
the idea that there's a solarium somewhere in this horrible winter,
Mhm.
like a garden inside of some like that's totally a point of pride for her too.
Totally. You are in the palace in Arakeen, right? Where there's like the jungle garden amidst the desert. So yeah, is that where you are? Are you
Oh yeah,
in the garden?
yeah. And I think it's recollecting when we first met the lady treasurer, and we were sitting in the queen's like garden
Mhm.
area, because I recall that that's where we met up the first time.
Yeah.
So now we're in mine, and
What kind of plants grow in the Corvidae solarium?
I think that it's a lot of stuff from back home, and some of that stuff is not native to the inland sea, but like there are things that are familiar to her from where she grew up, which was like obviously a lot of the way the Corvidaes decorate and including their plants is like, look at all this fancy shit I have from other places.
Yeah, totally.
So like the queen might have had like, these are Carpathian plants and maybe something sweet and floral from, I don't know, as a gift from the Dutch, whatever.
Because you know Carpathia does not have like nice, sweet, floral. It's like, this is the Carpathian death blossom. Check out these Carpathian doom potatoes. They're
Look at
delicious.
our particularly in bloom nettles.
Yeah, exactly. Here's the
Like-
Carpathian spike plant. Here's some
240 different kinds of pine cone.
Yeah. Exactly. Come enjoy my pine gallery. This is a
Yeah,
pine
so-
cone. These are also pine cones. Check out my pine cones.
So this is like she kind of took it over. I bet she has a gardener that was like from back home, and it's got a bunch of like plants from the inland sea, and then also some from some other place that are fancy and rare. And her gardener is so talented and has kept them alive even this horrible winter. And yeah, we're having some tea. It's great.
Okay. All right. So the two of you, we fade in on the two of you at a table in the garden, and yeah, the servants have just poured tea and are outside of hearing range, but always ready.
Mhm.
And yeah, the lady treasurer is she's there in fine form. If she's been stressed out by the situation, she doesn't show it. She's a woman who is quick to smile, is shrewd but not like cruel, and who is sort of constantly in a state of observing the world around her. You see her taking in the garden as she speaks to you, but not at the expense of the conversation. Really, she's always ready to jump in and carry on the conversation while she absorbs the world around her. She's wearing probably like a blouse and a vest, like a kind of like sage green vest with a little crystal nettle pin stuck in it, and then she has her like necklace of office on, and her hair is probably just like out of the way, just like braided, and yeah, she has the rosy cheeks of her family, right? It's ruddiness is a thing that runs in her people, and yeah, and she's sitting at the table with you, and I think that you're just sort of coming out of the small talk, a bit of conversation, and she's saying to you, you know, I have to tell you, I admire the way that you've kept this place running. I mean, no offense, but it's much smaller than the castle, and you've done wonderfully. And she looks around and says, "You can hardly tell that this place has 5 times the people that it was built to hold. Really, fabulous job, Alessandra. You've done wonderful."
Well, thank you. It's stretched my talents of estate management, but I found myself quite up to the task. There's this whole like I'm not gonna like say anything about anything. And she looks at the lady treasurer, and there's this like moment of, I think it's sort of like, yes, the like there's this like polite pause, and then she says, yes, the castle. It is hard to broach the subject with the king. He does not want to speak of it, and I can completely understand, of course. But
It's the king's place to know why the crown is important, and it's the treasurer's case to know how expensive the crown is. She shakes her head and she says, "It's a damnable shame, above and beyond everything else that's happened." She looks kind of wistfully out the window in the direction of the castle, and she says, "There is a lot of gold in that castle, a lot of gold that we have no access to. I wish that we could help. I would love to offer you assistance in maintaining the court, but to be honest, I don't have a lot to work with."
it is not, I do not bring you here to request your help. As you can see, the court has been managed, I hope, with a dexterous hand. I actually wished to offer you help. I cannot offer it to the king. He would politely refuse every time, of course, but I wish to do everything in my power to.
Lady Alessandra, you've already done so much, giving the court a home after the tragedy, giving these people a place to meet with their king. I couldn't imagine asking you for any more. You've done a saint's work.
You do not need to ask. I am offering. Please let me help. I can. I. It is hard. It is hard to bring this up, but I know how much the And she hesitates, like, am I supposed to say the late queen or
Yeah, because she isn't really like no one. She isn't dead, right? The king is not in
Yeah.
mourning. There's no funeral. None of that has happened because we don't know. Like she's just disappeared.
So I think that she has like she almost says it because she already thinks as the queen is like gone in her head. Like this is done. That part of that part of the problem is over with. But then she like backtracks as in like, oh right, that's not appropriate. That would be like super.
Yeah.
And so she says, I know that the queen did much to assist you and the king in making sure that things ran smoothly. And I know that I am not she, and I do not wish to be. But lie.
I really want to make you make a falsehood test. Like blowing the falseness horn, like liar, but that's not the point of the conversation.
No, it's an outright lie. But I think that I can help. I am capable in the ways that she was, and the members of her circle that used to assist her and you now reside in my home, and
Some. Yes. Though not all. I've been so busy. There are friends I haven't spoken to since the incident. I wonder, knights, if they're even alive. The city has become such a harsh, unforgiving place.
I regret that I did not get to meet all of them before we left the castle. Is that something that I could do to help make sure that everyone is safe and accounted for? I could send men, or like she's waiting for like, tell me something that I can do so that I can like get on your good side or whatever.
Let's find out, shall we? Do I have a character sheet for her yet? I don't think that I do. God, there's so many characters in this game. Let's make her one.
There are so many characters in this game. Burning Wheel.
Burning Wheel. I mean, you know, this we chose this,
The hot
this
circle
path.
tournament.
Yeah, exactly. Circles rolls. Just circles rolls for days. Okay, Lady Catalan. What's her name, right? Catalan.
Urtica.
Urtica. Lady Treasurer.
Yeah, I don't think we ever rolled anything with her.
No, I don't think
She just
she's
was
been rolled
there.
against. Okay. Well, I think she's got a roll. She's got a will of 3. And I think you're just trying to persuade her that you can help.
Exactly.
And so you want to persuade her that you can help by gathering the Queen's Circle to the castle. That is like a thing that you are going to do with her like blessing, essentially.
Yeah, if that's the thing. I want the Queen's Circle here.
Right,
I
you want to
want
bring them to you. Okay.
use them to like yeah.
If you fail this test, she has another proposition for you instead. She will reject this as an idea, but offer a different one.
Okay.
Ob 3.
So,
Persuasion.
Ob 3, and then she's a noble, so noble wise. She's of the court, and we're talking about gathering the court, members of the court.
Court-wise, yeah, sure.
So
Okay,
court-wise. And then this isn't something where my like affiliation with the Queen's Circle would help, right?
No, but seeking them out, I would give you an advantage.
Actually, so persuading her to that's a thing that I can do. But okay, so +2, and it's a base ob of 3.
It is, yes. Hey, look at that.
I get a 3.
Okay.
I did
it. So she says if you have the time and the resources, and she looks around like clearly you do, to put word out to gather the circle, she nods, it would be good to have their support again. Some company would be most pleasant. I fear we all have felt a bit alone.
Of course. And I know that we do not know each other very well, Lady, I would call her Lady Urtica, right?
Uh,
Lady Treasurer.
it depends on
We
how you want
talked
to.
about this
It depends on how
before.
you want to address her. Yeah.
I feel like I want to address her like as a person and not as her
Lady Catelyn would
Lady
be.
Catelyn.
Well, Lady Catelyn would be like the most familiar you could get without straight up being like Catelyn or Cat, like something her sister or her like close friends would call
Yeah,
her.
I wanna do the like
Lady Urtica would be a step up from there, like a little bit removed, like addressing her as a member of her house. Lady Rosala would be even further removed, and then the Lady Treasurer would be like you're addressing not her as a person but her title, which would be inappropriate for this situation.
Yeah, no. So I would do the like we're like I say I know we haven't up to this point been very close, Lady Catelyn, but if you are feeling lonely, you can of course call on me. The tasks of running the house and now the court have kept me quite busy, and I also find that I long for companionship that is not demanding my work and attention.
What are you doing here? What's going on? What's happening? What are you doing here? What's your intent?
I want to be like,
Sneaky.
hey, I'm doing something for you, but also like we could be friends. Like you say you're lonely, I'm here.
Are you forking in seduction?
Yeah, like where are you going with this?
I just like this is it's I'm not trying to seduce her.
I'm just wondering if Alessandra can even help herself at this point. But yes, I understand.
You can be like I'm telling her. She said she's lonely.
I
She can
know.
spend time with me. Why is it always
I'm asking.
seduction?
Have you met your character? Do you remember character creation?
Is it possible to not flirt a little bit?
That's what
Okay,
I'm
so
wondering.
it
Where's
could be-
where's
it
the
could be-
line?
okay,
Where's the line,
but
Blue Jay?
Where's the-
I guess it's a little bit seduction, but it's not about sex. Right? It's like you ask for companionship, you say you're lonely. I'm right here.
Can you hear the way you're saying this?
I'm right here. I can make.
I understand what you're doing, but I don't
There's
know.
just
I
like
don't
that
know if
the words
Alessandra.
you're
bit of a
using.
lilt in your voice
I
that
don't know.
makes it.
Yeah,
a
I don't know if
certain
Alessandra has the
sound.
tools to do this in a way that isn't seductive.
Blue Jay. It might just be your voice. I don't
It
know.
could
the
just
way
be
you're
that
saying
Blue
it.
Jay has a real nice voice and uses it real
It's
nicely.
like very enticing. Is all I'm gonna say, right?
I literally am just saying she just said that she's lonely and we're sitting and having a cup of tea
To be
together.
fair, I don't think she ever said it that way. But yeah, I'm wondering about that. So let me be clear: seduction is the extraction of information or persuasion of action through manipulation of sexual desire and intention. The skill seduction is explicitly about sex. You can't be like it's like seductive, but it's not seductive. Like it is or it isn't.
I have a question.
Yes.
So is this so you have your relationship aptitude with someone?
Mhm.
Can you speed up being friends with them by saying nice things like this? And,
Yeah,
and
like
take
that's-
like a test against that? Is this like a
That's
practice
my
test?
intent basically, is that I want to get into her good graces. I want like this is ingratiate.
I think that's a completely reasonable
Yeah.
mechanical like thing to like buy yourself a couple more like checks on that thing.
Yeah, because if you can do that from bringing somebody who's an enmity clause to being not, then surely starting from a better baseline, you can still do the same thing.
Okay. Well, why don't you let's make a test. This
Okay.
doesn't sound like persuasion though. It sounds like soothing platitudes or seduction, if that's the angle you want to go. You don't really know about what her deal is.
Mhm.
So I need to know your I guess your intent, if you're intending to be seductive in the way that Alessandra often is.
Here's the thing, fam.
I know you don't
I
have
need
soothing
one
platitudes.
more routine test to up my seduction.
I mean, you don't know if it's going to be a routine test or not.
I mean, but like
Her
what
will is 3.
And what like affects a seduction test?
Whether she is sexually attracted to you and your gender or not.
Okay.
That will certainly affect it.
But soothing platitudes, it would just be like if the platitude is appropriately soothing, or is that also her will?
Soothing platitudes is like, let me find the but soothing platitudes is like, it's gonna be okay, you're not alone, right? Like, we're buds, and it's not about your relationship, but like, it's about letting her know that like, you're all working the same way. Still based on will.
It's still based on will.
Yeah. Placating.
Alessandra has only a certain amount of tools, and her seduction tool is a lot more practiced than her soothing platitudes.
To a person with a hammer, every problem is a nail.
I mean, we can try it, and if it goes badly, then she knows not to try it again. I definitely think that, like you guys were even saying, like there's a part of her that doesn't even realize
Like
that the way
unconscious.
that she's saying something is
Well,
using the tools that she's used to using. So,
and normally
yeah.
she ingratiates herself with men, and the
Mhm.
easiest way to do that, right, is to use her sexuality. But then in this case, you might just be like, this is just how you ingratiate yourself with people. Like,
Yeah,
it just slips out, right?
It's just how you manipulate people.
I think most people have encountered or know someone who is like that, where you're just like, stop flirting at me. Like,
I
just
definitely have.
Stop it. Like,
I'm sorry, that's just how I talk.
you can convince me to do this a different way, okay? You don't need to try to, like, stop
I don't
touching
need
my
to
leg.
lean in close and
Dork.
pull my hair.
All right, so make the so you're gonna make a seduction test.
Yep.
I don't think that this would have occurred to her otherwise. So I'm gonna give it a +2.
I feel like there's a little bit of like, oh.
Yeah, this is interesting. You know, I think that it's not. If it were impossible, I would say seduction is a unreasonable task for this. Like, if I thought you had no success, I would be like, no, you have to go at your intent a different way. I don't like games where the characters are PC sexual either. So
yeah,
there's a chance because I think there's actually a chance. So let's call it ob 5.
So I can fork in soothing platitudes because you said that that's kind of what she's saying.
That's a perfect fork for that. It's not just the like sexy sex. It's the like, I'm seducing you because being seduced makes you feel intimately connected with a person, and that's soothing. Yep.
And does persuasion forks into seduction? I'm trying to get her to do what I want. And she's still a noble, so noble wise.
She didn't suddenly lose her noble title because now it's getting sexy.
So for a,
I mean,
she loves it when you call her my lady.
Okay, so the ob is 5.
Yes, the ob is 5. I think if you fail, it gets awkward.
I need one more die to make it a routine test.
I think if you fail, she's just like, no.
Persona, pleasure.
Persona would not count
won't count
that.
towards it.
Oh,
So it needs to be a legit fork.
I
I wish I could open your character sheet. And
yeah. What other
recommend
forks
things.
you got?
Do you have?
Can I use?
Break out the cutlery.
Are you forking in etiquette?
Can I fork in etiquette?
This is outside etiquette. Hitting on her is outside of. You have astrology, don't you?
I do have astrology.
You can almost always fork astrology.
And that would make it a
And you have
routine
manipulation wise, either of
Yeah.
those.
Oh, manipulation.
yeah, manipulation wise is
Definitely
the
manipulation
obvious
wise.
one.
And you
I'm
can do
trying-
both too if you want.
I want it to be I have 8 die.
Once it's routine, the more dice you add doesn't make it like super routine. If
Yeah.
you need a
Okay,
routine test,
so-
you can
The
just
more
pile
is
it.
good.
More is good.
So manipulation wise, and then
Astrology.
astrology. Okay, so the astrology die roll separately,
Yeah.
and this is a B5.
And no, adultery doesn't count, chat, because neither of them are married.
So I have 4 modifiers.
But Adam, Alessandra's husband, walks the earth. Another man's
he walks
body.
into the room. What's going on in here? I'm a ghost. I'm angry.
I have
Stop it
2
with all this gay stuff.
I'm gonna actually put in a persona die because I have 2 persona, and I would
Yeah,
like to
hit
see
it.
this succeed. And I want
And
to
friendship is an important magical power that you
Yes.
can access.
Friendship.
Okay, so I'm spending a persona,
Sexy friendship is friendship too.
and
You
I'm
fucking
just
blow it.
fucked.
Now,
Astrology die.
I'm doing
so- It's open ended.
so this didn't include your astrology dice. So you do one
No.
of those. Okay, so that's
It
just
doesn't matter.
Now you did get a 6. You got 1 6.
This is so fucked. I failed so many times.
2 successes on 9
You
dice.
blew
Yeah,
it. You fucking blew it.
insane.
It just
I mean,
gets
I
weird.
still upped my seduction to 5.
Good
Oh.
work.
That's the thing.
Well,
I practiced.
Alessandra
Quickly,
learns an important lesson that you
the
can't seduce your
problem.
way out of every problem, or into one. And yeah, I think you make her uncomfortable with your like fucking
That was
predatory
so many
Alessandra.
dice.
I know you're really good at this, but not today.
Damn it.
Yeah, yeah,
That sucks.
exactly.
Welcome to my world, Blue Jay.
Yeah.
Welcome to my fucking life in this game.
So
That
I think
sucks.
the subtlety of the seduction is just like peeled away to its core, and you give her this look that on the king would have just turned him into jello, right? Like he would
Yeah.
have just been like, oh yeah, Lady Alessandra. But on Catalan, she looks at you like, huh, like what do you? And she goes a little red, like redder, I guess. She like blushes and kind of like looks a little shocked, and she doesn't like storm out. She's not just like gay stuff and runs out. She just like gets super uncomfortable.
Yeah.
She like sips her tea and shakes her head, and she says, "Well, I've been very busy with my work. Really, it's not so much that I'm feeling lonely, just that well, you know how these things can be, and times have been so hard of late.
Oh god, does she internalize it as being her fault that this happened too a little bit? Like
I don't know what she's feeling. She's just like all kinds of fucked up because you just came on real strong, and she's just like, what the fuck do I do?
Yeah, and I feel like there's a part of Alessandra that is just like, whoop, okay, I'm
So-
just gonna ignore that
How
happened.
do you do this? You have some options. You see her off balance.
Mm-hmm.
You could do the polite thing and find an excuse to end the conversation and either like move it somewhere else or let her go, right?
Mhm.
Or you could take advantage of the fact that she's off balance and you could really fuck with her. But that's not going to
But that sounds like
I'm just asking you how evil you are.
no, but like in terms of the game mechanics, the seduction.
Oh, you don't
was
get to
failure.
seduce her again, but you could turn her uncomfortableness into something else. You could intimidate her, or you
use
could like,
it as leverage for something
yeah,
else.
leverage, right?
Hmm.
Because she's like, oh fuck, you've just made me very uncomfortable. So she's vulnerable in the sense that like you didn't get what you wanted, but now she's all off balance and like trying to think of a way to get the fuck away from you because you've made her very uncomfortable.
I'm just trying
You
to.
also
like,
have manipulation wise, so if you want to ask me the best way to manipulate her,
that's
you
what
could.
I want to
Okay.
do. I want to ask you what exactly you're leading into here.
Yeah.
So yeah, manipulation wise, what is the best way to take advantage of her being off balance? What would the consequences of a failure on this? I just don't know.
You misinterpret. I tell you the wrong thing.
Okay.
This is Alessandra pulling from the Brainer book and being like, in what way are your mind and soul vulnerable?
Uh-huh.
Yes, that's exactly what it says.
Well, you see her, yeah. Suddenly you've made her very uncomfortable, and now you're like, oh, well, if you don't want me to sex at you, what is another thing? Now, what can I do now that you're off balance? You've given her a little shove.
Yeah, I think that the thing that Alessandra wants to get out of this is like, okay, so that wasn't the right way. What can I read about this to learn the way in which to
Yeah, I think
manipulate you to do what I want?
I think it's gonna be tough. It's ob 3, but you've got forks.
Okay, so I'm forking in observation. Obviously, I'm checking her out and being like, so that didn't work. Like, what might work? Like, how in what way are you backing off against this? Noble wise, because she's noble.
This is like the first opportunity for like read a person that we've ever gotten. But wises, I think, are good for that, right? Psychology wise, person wise. I mean, person wise is a bullshit wise, but like.
Well, no, but specific people wise, like noble wise,
oh yeah, totally.
could be another way that you could access.
I mean, you can buy wises for specific individuals too, right? Like you could someone could open Agatha of the Dark Woods wise.
Or King, what's his butt, wise.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
His name is King Dragomir, Thomas Dragomir Larix the 14th or something.
Oh yeah, whatever that guy's name is.
So
That guy.
I can fork in observation and noble wise, and this isn't really about her being a member of the court, is it?
This is not court wise. No, this is a personal thing.
Can I fork in seduction because I used it to put her off balance, and that's why I'm able
No,
to
because this
read
is
her
a different thing.
now? Okay.
Yeah, your seduction failed, so it's off the table.
I mean, we could try with astrology again, but I have a hard time finding the fictional positioning for that. If Agatha was still around, then it would be like easier to justify, but I'm probably just gonna fail this roll.
If only Agatha were still around. Did she ever even exist in the first place?
Yep.
Who knows?
Who knows?
I haven't seen her since last
All
July.
right, well, we'll try because obstacle 3, you said?
Yes, ob 3.
All right.
You
I
got a
did 2 and I
6.
have a 6. Let's just go. Gonna spend that fate.
Ooh.
And
Okay.
if don't.
So tell me what you want here. Like, you want to know how to get her to what? Think of you as like a friend and confidant?
I mean, this is Alessandra's thing. It's not necessarily like she's trying to read the way to manipulate.
Into doing what? Like, what is the thing? If you basically
No,
you
she
have
wants to know. She wants to know this person's weakness so she can manipulate them into doing whatever.
No, but it's
like-
different, right? Like if you like there's different tools for different things. You don't use the same tool for everything. So it's not like I can tell you I need information from you so I can answer this question.
Well, but that's what I'm saying is like if like she was trying to get to ingratiate herself to Catelyn by using the tool that she's most accustomed to, and that
Right.
didn't
And
work.
it didn't work, but you put her off balance.
She's looking for signs of like what exactly didn't like. I don't know. She's trying to find the way in to like ingratiate herself to like Alessandra wants to be in everybody's good graces so that when she says like do this thing for me, they're like, of course.
Okay, so I mean, I think the correct thing to do, which is obviously the incorrect thing to do, but what Alessandra thinks is the correct thing to do is to be mean to her, like intimidate or like push her. You see weakness, and this is where the correct thing you think to do is to like claws out and be like, "Listen, you sniveling shit! Like, get your shit together. Like, be cruel to her, snap her out of it." And you'll assert your dominance over her, and she'll be like, "Oh, you're like a capable person. I should listen to and trust you."
That's so I as the player,
Yeah,
I'm just
it's wrong
like,
as fuck.
Yeah.
That is not the thing that you should do. But Alessandra thinks it is.
oh, I hate this. I hate this like
No, it's not.
conflict
You
of
don't
player
have
and
to,
character.
obviously, right? This is like an instinct. You don't have to do it, but it feels like you have an opening. But you could always just be like, I sip my tea and we forget about it. But I'm just telling you, that's the thing.
But if you do, you'll get a fate point.
Yeah, chances are pretty good you're gonna get a fate point out of it.
I mean, if that's what my character like, it's so hard for me because as a player, I know that it's wrong and it feels wrong. But
Throwing yourself
saying that
down a
as my
well is half the
character-
fun.
Failure is inevitable. And we roll with our failures in this game. So trying to succeed when
Well, I mean,
failure would also be interesting.
I'm not talking about success.
But
I'm
also the
talking
other
about,
thing-
like the conflict of what my character knows and what I as a person know. Like if my character thinks that this is the thing to do, that this would work, then of course I would like.
Well,
as
but
the
again,
character,
it's
go
the same
for
as
it,
it's
but
the same as your
also-
instinct. Just because your character has an instinct to do a thing doesn't mean you always have to do it mechanically. You can just say, "Yeah, I have an advantage here, but I'm not going to use it."
But also, just because it's the wrong track doesn't necessarily mean it will fail. If you intimidate real well,
Yeah, there's a chance that even though it's the wrong thing, it might still work, which would be really fucked up.
I'm
She
just
would
saying,
not like you.
The other consideration here, though, is seeing that opportunity. Is that something that Alessandra has the stomach for?
Mhm.
Right? Like that particular approach seems really
not her.
off-brand for her.
Yeah.
And so even though it's like, oh yeah, I could do that, but like, would I? You know, like even if it seems like the right way to do it, often
I
people
think that's
back
where
out
my
because it's not
conflict
something they want
is.
to do.
It seems such a weird thing
the
to
act
occur to
itself.
her is like, oh yes, like this person doesn't go in on seduction if I was mean to
Well,
her.
the idea is that it's you recognize it as being like, listen, every day pretty much, I'm in a situation where I'm like, I could just yell at this person and get what I want, right? Like this person is being difficult. I could just be a real asshole and I could probably get what I want. But I'm not going to, because that would make me feel bad about myself. It would make them feel bad. The most direct approach is the way you think you're going to get what you want, but you're also a smart person who thinks about the ramifications. She would tell people you were mean to her. Like there would be these.
That just seems so not conniving. Alessandra is not that direct ever.
Yeah, sure, which is fine.
Then you don't have to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just such it's a weird result of a role.
You see her weakness. You know you could get what you want by pushing it, or you think you do, but it's totally up to you to decide.
Yeah. I think that I see her off balance. I read that I could push just a little bit and she would just do whatever I told her. Let me help her in this way. But I think that Alessandra is uncomfortable with that. The idea that she could be that, like, yelly. I don't know. She
Sure.
she operates a little bit more subtly than that. At least she thinks she's more subtle than that. And so she probably tries to just redirect the conversation. Says something about, what were we talking about?
Like the weather or something.
Like, oh yes, like I've been quite busy as well. Finding time would inevitably just be a stress on each of us. But I do hope that in the future you would consider me if there were ever a time that you truly wished for companionship. I'm doing that again.
You're totally doing it again.
You are totally.
So like, I love that there's this awkward conversation where you can't help but be like, why? I just need to have more conversations with people who want to have sex with me. Get out of here. Like, you don't know how to handle her. And she's like all fucked up over the way you're trying to like have a conversation with her. Do you want to try to negotiate out of this? Or do you just like pull the cord and are like, oh, I have to go?
No, I mean, it ends up being like just a super awkward conversation. And then both of us are just like, right, we have other things that we have.
Right, now I'm giving you the opportunity. Do you want to try to salvage it and like come out of it like, okay, that was awkward, but we can move past it? Or do you just like ripcord bail out and are just like, well, it was lovely speaking with you. I'm sure we both have things to do. Let's go. And you eject.
I mean, it's like, I feel like there's an etiquette.
Yes,
Oh,
there would
like,
be there's an etiquette. Yes, there's an etiquette role that would get you out of this situation without her remembering it explicitly. Just that time that Lady Alessandra made me feel really weird.
Yeah, and that's where she would go. If seduction doesn't work, her next best skill is etiquette in terms of like trying to salvage this situation. Just fall back on what you've been taught.
It's that whole like, yeah, it'd be really funny if we made out. Wouldn't that be funny? And you wait to see if she laughs. You're like, I'm just kidding about that. Gotta go. Okay, so let's have you roll etiquette. Obtuse, because it's the same thing.
Okay.
And if you succeed, then she won't forget, but it won't be the only thing she really remembers from the conversation.
Okay. So yeah, noble wise. I've already tried manipulation wise, so I can't fork that in. Is that what you said?
You're not trying to be manipulative in this case. You're trying to save your own ass.
Okay. Yeah, I guess just noble wise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you succeed, you get out. Okay. And she's just like, oh, that was weird. Everybody's so stressed out. Like, fine, we'll just let it go. If you fail, she'll play along with the etiquette and she'll leave, but she'll like tell people about the weird tea she had with you. And people won't like immediately be like, oh, Alessandra, but like it'll be a little high school. There'll be a little bit of like, what's she about? God, she's weird.
Of course, it's fine. I'm just good.
Yeah, there's that fucking 4.
There's the successes. God damn.
I love how you succeeded at the roll to get into the situation, failed a ton of rolls in the middle of it, and then succeeded to get out again. Good job. So you found an exit at the bottom of
I
this.
can't believe I rolled only 2 successes on that
Listen,
stupid seduction
oh,
test.
man.
That
Listen,
was so
if
many
nothing
die.
else, you got a bunch of like ticks on various skills.
You got to roll some dice.
So I salvaged this mess at least a little
Mhm.
bit. She's not going to go talking about how weird and awkward and flirty I am. At least not too much.
She probably won't mention. Now, she'll go away wondering forever if she just misinterpreted what you were saying, or like she'll definitely spend some time thinking about like, did she mean? Oh, she couldn't have.
Maybe it's
I'm just
me.
imagining things.
Maybe I'm the one that thought the wrong thing and she
Yeah.
wasn't coming on to me at all.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds appropriate.
It turns out I'm the gay stuff.
Yeah, you'll run into her at a gay club in Carpathia 10 years from now, and she'll just be like, Alessandra, I haven't seen you in forever. Yeah, you run into her at the lesbian bar, and she'll be like, what are you doing here?
Ugh.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, the two of you eggs into that situation, and yeah, she has. You're going to go and try to like find some other members of the Queen's inner circle and basically rebuild it. You have her permission, I guess, or her blessing to do so. So let's see where Joy ended up.
I have basically like
visit our
a
Joy.
day to wait to get back to Saltpeter. That's the
Yeah.
next.
Now we
because I
can
have
jump
to
ahead to that, or
I
you can tell
mean,
me what you're doing in the
there's
interim.
also the whole like we got to figure out where this guy is and like how I'm gonna get close to him.
Yeah.
Basically, which is the stuff I would be doing during the day, or what have you.
Okay. So what do you do? Like where do you go?
So I mean, my dear friend Emilio.
Friend Emilio.
Yes, my dear friend Emilio has already agreed to show me where Yorick Booker is. So take me hither, Emilio.
So Emilio has promised a thing that he thinks he can do, but I need to roll to see if he's any good at it. So let me see. Emilio, the hateful ludist, I think has like probably a streetwise of, I don't know, 2. But I imagine without filling out his character sheet anymore, I imagine he's got probably like 2 things he could fork into that.
Yeah, like trouble wise and getting punched in the face wise.
I hope that I never have getting punched in the face. Wise.
I mean,
I don't ever want to open that skill. I'm not interested in being wise about getting punched in the face. Because it's not even about punching other people's faces. It's like having your face punched wise.
Do I have anything to help him with? Yeah,
I don't know.
help?
Yeah. Can you help?
I've got slavery wise.
That's nope. It's not a slave. This is not Conan. It's not a slave fighting pit.
Not super helpful.
You can tell what kind of game this is in that I'm super rusty on the rules for helping.
Yeah.
Somebody want to look that up for me while I check the ob for this?
I don't really have anything I can help him with because a lot of my skills are either talking or throwing things.
Yeah, Andrew or Blue Jay, if you can look up how helping works again.
So I don't entirely know.
I think you can help a skill with a stat.
Can you?
I'm not that. Yeah, somebody look it up. Streetwise.
Because if so, I could help him with perception.
Yeah. Streetwise. Here we go. Finding an out-of-the-way place in a familiar city. Ob 2. Okay. It's forked with inconspicuous and orienteering. He has neither of those, but I think it's
I have
reasonable.
inconspicuous,
So
I could help
skills may help skills and stats. Stats may help stats.
Okay,
Stats may
right,
not
so
help
no.
skills. Circles may help circles. Resources may help resources.
So I could help with with inconspicuous because it is a fork for streetwise.
And yeah, if you can help with
I could
a
keep us on the
forking
down
skill,
low.
then
What
that's
page?
legit.
What page are you looking at?
36. And so it says here, the helping ability must be related in some way.
Oh, okay, so it doesn't have to be
Similar
the same
skills
skill.
are the best candidates for help. Often this is situational, but the help must make sense to the players. The fork listing for skills is a good guide,
Excellent.
but not
So
the definitive
perfect.
source.
Yeah, you can help. So he's got 3. He's got an ob 2. If he fails, I think if he succeeds, he can like get you there and get you in, and you will be like at the thing. If he fails, he gets you there, but social complications are such that you are not allowed in.
Sure.
he has maybe promised more than he can deliver. Let's see how Emilio boom! Emilio!
Yeah, Emilio!
Yeah. All right.
Ugh, friend!
So we see
Not my friend, but whatever.
we see the two of you. We see the two of you in an alley, and there are a group of people sort of standing in the alley in the cold, waiting to get into this place. And we kind of pan up the line, and most of these folks are like merchants or nobles. There aren't really like peasants. Oh yeah, and also don't forget to advance, because you advance when you help.
Oh, sweet.
It's an ob2 test for you.
And it's a test of the same difficulty as the person making the test.
Yeah.
And at the front of the line, Emilio is talking to whoever is the like doorman, and is like that you're being let in. And we follow the two of you. This is all one long shot, so it like runs up the line, kind of hooks up over your shoulder, and then follows you down into this place. And you go down some wooden stairs into like a cellar, and it's this big cellar. And it's packed, and it's hot, and moist, and smells of sweat and dirt and a little bit of blood. And you push past a man who is like taking beers off of a tray that a serving girl is carrying, and he turns and looks after Emilio, who like covers his face and like turns sideways, dips into the crowd, and we follow the two of you to the edge of a dugout pit. It's several, I would say three tiers of like seating, of like stone seating, and then a big circle at the bottom. And the circle is the floor is covered in hay, and we see someone being carried, some unconscious person, shirtless man with blood on his knuckles, blood dripping from his face, being carried away. And another man standing with his hand up against the edge of the pit, kind of like wobbling, and the people next to him are shouting and cheering. The place is loud. There's sound everywhere. And Emilio turns to you, and he says, "Well, here we are. So," just like gestures.
And I look at him and I go, "Thank you for your help getting here, dear friend. Now, here's the thing. You can stay around if you want, with me. And we can go talk to my employer after all of this is done, but I may need a day or two of setup."
And he looks at you and he's like, "I'm not letting you out of my sight, you slippery weasel. You and I," and he grabs your sleeve. He's like, "You're not going anywhere."
Well, okay. Then come along. We have to find the proprietor of this place.
And
a man by the name of Yorick Booker.
He shakes his head and he says, "No need to find him." And he points and he says, "That's the asshole there." And we follow his hand, and you can see at the other end of the pit, surrounded by well-dressed, though somewhat sauced nobles, you see a man who looks like, if he weren't so well dressed, he would be. There's like a specific actor that I'm thinking of that would play him, and he's one of the like lower level like pirate dudes from Pirates of the Caribbean. I think he was in the British version of The Office. He's just this like super weaselly English actor. God damn it! I'm gonna look it up.
Is it the guy in the duo of comedy guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me see. Curse of the Black Pearl was the first one, right?
I was.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is this guy's name? Mackenzie Crook, I think.
Okay.
Oh yeah, this fucker. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was in Game of Thrones too. That's right.
Yeah.
He was one of the wildlings. Yep, this guy. So to you, like, I mean, I don't know, you're not that like versed in the streets, but this dude, he looks like he has had and recovered from several fairly serious illnesses, some of them venereal.
Okay, yeah.
He's like, his
slimy motherfucker.
His teeth are yellowed, his skin is jaundiced, his eyes are sunken, but he has like beautiful, expensive looking clothes on. He has.
Oh, he's been spending that money he hasn't paid back.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's the proprietor of this very establishment.
Well,
and,
as a rabid fan, I have to go and talk to him.
and so we see him. He's surrounded by his friends, and he says something. We can't hear it. It's all like the sound of the crowd. And he says something to a woman that's near him who laughs like a little over much. Hand to her bodice, and he picks up a something like something off of a tray. There's a servant sitting nearby, picks something off of a tray and puts it in his mouth and laughs while he's chewing it. Little like flecks of it kind of like fall on her dress, and she tries not to look disgusted. And he turns to another guy, and they're like just talking, and he's having a great time, kind of holding court in this little group of like a half dozen people.
Sure, this little scumbag court.
Okay, and so he points, and he's like, "That's the man right there."
And so I look to Emilio and I go, "Well, we have to go talk to him. Let's go."
Emilio does not hear you. He doesn't hear you say that, but he feels
I just
you
move off into the
turn.
crowd.
And he like immediately like you pull away from him, and he shouts after you. He's like, "Where are you going?"
I gotta talk to him.
What? Wait, no, hold on. And he comes up and grabs you again, and he's like, "What do you mean talk to him? What are you, insane?"
You're gonna hang around, so you'll find out. Let's go.
And he points and he says, "There's no way you're going to get anywhere near him, you idiot. He has bodyguards. And look at you. It's not going to happen. You're just going to get yourself killed, and then I'm out of job."
Hang on a second. You think I'm not going to get close to him because of how I look?
And he looks you up and down, and he's like,
Well, then you do it.
and he shakes his head, and he's like, "Oh no. I'm not best of friends with Mr. Booker's crowd, so I'm
they know
going
you.
to stay out of the spotlight on this one."
Well, interesting. Okay. Well, we know where he is, and we know where he'll be in the next few days. I assume this place runs.
And he nods, and he says, I mean, I don't fall." And the two of you are having this like relatively conspiratorial, like stage whispered conversation while there are people around you. Like you get bumped every once in a while, and the crowd is very much this kind of like gray
I'm just kind
mass
of bang.
flesh
I'm kind of
and
just
clothes.
banking on that nobody gives a shit.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Like anyone could hear you, but you're speaking at a regular volume in a
If you
room
hear
that's
a
very
s-
loud.
You hear a single sentence, it's not going to matter, right?
The
Like,
inconspicuous ob for this room is much higher,
Yeah.
or the conspicuous one. And so he says to you, he says, "Well, look, I showed you where he was. What now?"
it's late in the evening. It's getting to about time. We can go see my guy, or we can try and talk to him. I'm gonna try and talk to him, and like push through the crowd towards where.
Okay. I mean, Emilio's going to try to grab you, like, and like physically hold you back from going up there because he thinks this is an insanely bad idea. Do you want to try to just like slip away from him?
Yeah, I'm just gonna try and get out of this grip.
Okay.
Sleight of hand.
No, sleight of hand is just for like
Okay.
that. I think it's just like speed, basically. Like
good.
he's trying to grab you, and you're trying to slip away. So let me find Emilio the Hateful Ludist. I don't think he's particularly speedy. Yeah, I think it's just a versus test.
Okie dokie. You
What's
want me to just roll then?
Yeah, just roll against.
I have three speed.
Okay. I think you're quicker than he is. I got one success.
So did I.
All right. So Ty.
I don't have any call-ons or
Ty
anything.
goes to the defender, who I guess in this case would be you because he's the one
Me.
trying to restrain you.
Exactly. Yes.
All right.
Okay.
So he lunges for you, right? Like lunges to grab the edge of your cloak or something, and he ends up grabbing someone else's shoulder who turns around like, "Hey!" And like he puts his hands up like, "Ugh, I didn't," and he's already got a black eye. He doesn't need another one. He's like, my friend is," and he tries to push past you, and this big guy is like shoves him, and he's like getting in the way, and you see Emilio kind of disappear into the crowd like, "No, you fucking
I'm sorry, Emilio.
you
I'll
dick,
pick you
come
up
back
outside.
here," and he like gets pulled away.
Meet me outside.
Right. I'm gonna try to get backstage.
Yeah.
All right. So now what?
So
you've
I
slipped
head towards
away.
the area that would allow me access to this individual.
Okay. All right. So he's not in like a VIP room or anything.
No, it's just like a section, right?
Yeah,
like of
but
this
there are
pit edge.
there are some thug types that are creating like a perimeter. He's got more room, more personal space than anyone else does. And I think as you slip towards him, there's a bell that's rung. And it's not like a big like it's like someone rings a cowbell a bunch of times, and we see another fighter, like two more fighters come into the ring, and kind of stretch out, and people are cheering, and you can see Yorick's folks down in the audience like taking
bets,
taking
yeah.
bets from people, yeah, and so another bout is about to begin.
So I get up as close as I can to this guy before I'm stopped. Like I want to be in conversation range, but I'm assuming I'll get stopped before then.
Yes, there's no way because of how loud it is that you'll get close enough to say anything to him that he would hear, unless you succeed at like slipping past his bodyguards.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, then I guess that's what I have to. I have to get past his guards somehow.
How would you like to do that?
I have inconspicuous. Can I like just be part of the crowd? There's still crowd.
Inconspicuous would be you could blend in with the crowd, but you couldn't pass the threshold. You couldn't pass the barrier, right? Because it's not about if anybody could just come and go, you could do that. But inconspicuous wouldn't do it. Stealthy would get you up to him, but that's like explicit like assassin shit.
I'm not on the list, so to speak, and stealthy. I don't have good stealth, so I think I've just got to try and talk my way through these guards.
Okay.
So this big person gets into my way. Basically.
Yeah, there's a you walk up and there's a woman. And they don't wear like armor, but she has a sword and on her belt, and not like a big sword, but like a fighting in close quarters, like a short sword.
Like a freaking stabby weapon.
Yeah, and she has her hair in two like almost like cornrows, and she has some tattoos, tattoos against her dark skin on one arm, and she's wearing like a vest and some like trousers. And she's not like a huge brute or whatever, but she just looks like a tough woman. And you approach.
Joy puts on the airs of patheticness as much as she can. Like she tries to put on like a fan, kind of persona as she approaches here, where it's like, oh, the fight's really cool and the fight's happening, but what I really want to do is talk to the person who runs this whole thing, sort of approach. So she's gonna like run into this person and then be like, could you maybe let me through? I really, 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 really need to talk to Yorick. I super want to, and I have some ideas and some plans that the people I work for, they could help this place get even more popular. And I just want to see it all get real big, like that kind of stuff. So
she just sneers and says, Mr. Booker's busy, Stygian.
Can I try and roll anything, or is this just like
try? It's going to be very difficult, but
I'm going to try and roll a persuade. Here.
Okay.
I'm going to try and persuade her to let me through.
Okay. I don't know if persuade is the appropriate task, because
so how about falsehood?
Yeah, falsehood for sure. Because you did say like I have an opportunity, I have a business opportunity for Yorick.
I was gonna fork falsehood.
So you can fork persuasion into falsehood.
I can fork persuasion instead. Sure.
Okay.
What's my ob here?
I think this person is like chosen for her willfulness.
Okay.
I think she's got a will of 3, but I'm gonna give her a +1 because turning away douchebags like you is like her job. She's in her element.
I'm into it. Anything else I can fork? No. All right. Well, 3v4. Let's see what happens. I'm assuming a fail is just I'm never gonna get through this person.
Yeah, she'll remember you as being like someone obnoxious that tried to get in touch with him, and she'll like make sure you don't get to do that.
know if it's worth it, but it's too late now. Base out 4.
Okay.
Throw dice.
Well, you got
Fate.
6. Ooh. All right. So I think she just shakes her head and looks at you, right? Looks at your clothes and your face, and just shakes her head and she says, she doesn't have to say anything. You know, she's just like, no, not happening. Neither the time or the place or the right person or the right lifetime.
All right, fine. And then yeah, I guess I just leave. I gotta disappear back into the crowd.
Okay.
Because I'll come back with poison.
Yeah. Do you retrieve Emilio or do you just leave the bar?
I told him to wait outside, you know.
Okay.
So like, if he's
All right,
out there,
so you
then
go out to
yeah.
meet with him. Okay.
If not,
Yeah.
I walk away.
So we
after that.
see we see Joy disappearing into the crowd, and away you go. Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's take our last break here, and then we'll see what else is going on. We got another hour. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Burning Wheel.